In a place that connects past to present rests a tale long since buried by dirt and decades.
All I have is stories that my grandfather told me and my mother years ago.
Here lies a mystery mostly forgotten. David Andreessen's visit to the Benjamin Cemetery
Once a year,
brings it all back to the surface.
I understood it was an unmarked grave, but apparently that wasn't the case.
A faded inscription on a headstone
I can't, oh,
tells of a grave injustice.
that is really hard to see. Envy, spite, and lies shall desecrate his name.
His name was Harry
He
Hayes.
was on waiting for the noose. They already had the rope.
It was 1895. The shores of Utah Lake had given up the bodies of 3 ranch hands. One was Albert Enstrom, Hayes' stepson.
All of the boys had actually been shot in their sleep.
It wasn't long after the Pelican Point murders made headlines that Hayes was identified as the prime suspect.
The stepfather didn't seem worried or anything at all. The land actually belonged to Mrs. Hayes. It had been deeded to her by her family. It was well known that he had a very contentious relationship with his stepson, who was meant to inherit this land. They didn't have anybody else that had a reason to kill these boys, and so very quickly everything started focusing on him.
Hayes was about to meet an outlaw's fate, convicted of the kind of crimes only the most dangerous men in the territory could commit. But detectives never could answer what happened to property missing from the ranch, and Hayes never wavered on his innocence.
He accused somebody by the name of Stevens of having done it. It wasn't until a new sheriff was elected in Lehigh by the name of Stores, and he got interested in the case, and he started doing some more investigating.
That fresh look at the circumstances surrounding the Pelican Point case tied the missing property back to that mysterious drifter named Stevens. Stevens was slowly illuminated as a man of several aliases.
James Weeks. Charles Case.
George H. Wright was his real name.
A plausible talker, sociable personality, attractive, educated.
He was a man who studied to be a lawyer in Michigan, only to find himself down a sinister path in Utah.
He was a marvelous shot with either a rifle or a pistol, and his actions were a practical admission that he was a cattle thief.
By the time the sheriff got onto his trail, he'd already fled to Colorado, where he was suspected of another killing.
The body of W.D. Crampton was found hidden in a manure pile on his own ranch.
It said that the only witness to the murder was the man's dog. 238 caliber bullet holes in the head told that the murder had been committed. It really was the Wild Wild West. He had left a trail of unreputable deeds wherever he went.
Wright also left behind a wife, though, who was granted immunity in exchange for her deposition and testimony.
When I was living at Pondtown, he killed my pet pug dog. I think at that time he intended to kill me.
From that point, Wright was a wanted man. Despite numerous sightings in the years that followed, the mysterious drifter drifted into the fog of history.
I think he was a serial killer is what it sounds like to me.
124 years later, Wright's wrongs will always be remembered here.
I was said to be massacred.
The 3 ranch hands were cousins. They're now buried next to Hayes, who was eventually exonerated.
That's Caroline right there
Hayes' wife shared the story
with Orrin Terrell and Spanish Fork.
for future generations.
That's my grandfather.
This is a different kind of family history.
So it'd be 2 great-grandfathers back.
History shows the truth
And in the end, the truth come out.
is never buried long. Andrew Adams, KSL 5 News.